Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times, this Saturday, May 1, 2021. For today's editorial, government's positive spin order, another blow to public confidence. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, as the saying goes, and the controversy triggered when an ill-considered directive to government information and media offices leaked this week might be one of the better examples of the old aphorism that we've seen in a long time. The memorandum over the signature of Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO Undersecretary and Officer in Charge George Apacible, was dated April 27. Pursuant to the directive of the President and by the authority of the Secretary, the memo said, all government media platforms are hereby directed to carry regular updates about the world data on COVID-19, specifically to convey to the public that the Philippines is faring better than many other countries in addressing the pandemic. This is deeply troubling for a couple of reasons. To be clear, there is nothing wrong with the government using its various communications offices to convey news in the most positive way possible. That is, after all, their job. People are in general encouraged by good news and more inclined to be supportive of government actions, particularly in a time of crisis, if the information they are being given by the government indicates that progress is being made. However, to let the public become aware that there is a specific directive to put a positive spin on the information being shared by the government is self-defeating, even though most people, if they gave it any thought, would probably make the correct assumption that government is managing its information to make it as optimistic as possible. There's a big difference between having an opinion that the government is doing that and knowing it with certainty. The latter instantly casts doubt on the credibility of anything the government says. Why the PCOO allowed its memo to become public knowledge, or, for that matter, why it created a paper trail instead of just passing the word in a manner that wouldn't leave evidence in the first place, is frankly baffling. We have to assume it was unintended, but the damage has been done. The substance of the government spin is also troubling and is likely to have the opposite effect than what President Duterte intended. Comparisons with other countries in the context of the pandemic response are invidious. For one thing, the circumstances in another country have absolutely no relevance to the circumstances faced by people here. The pandemic, as has been repeated often, is not a competition. And those who find this government's response unsatisfactory will detect no improvement in their own experience based on what is happening elsewhere. Beyond that, inviting comparisons with other places is risky because there is such a vast amount of information that could be used that any positive comparison can be easily matched with a multitude of negative ones. There are a total of 220 countries and territories affected by the coronavirus, each with its own set of statistical data, such as numbers of cases, deaths, vaccination rates, and so on. Even if the information disseminated by the government is completely factual, it has set itself up for an endless, unwinnable competition for public attention. This has already happened after PCOO News and Information Bureau head Virginia Arcilla-Agtay claimed in a TV interview on April 28 that the Philippines was doing much better than India, which, to be fair, is currently experiencing a catastrophic surge in infections. Nonetheless, negative reactions from the public on social media were instantaneous and backed by data that soundly refuted Arcilla-Agtay's assertions. Based on data from Bloomberg and Worldometers, at the time Arcilla-Agtay made her statement, the Philippines had a higher number of deaths per 100,000 people, a higher case fatality rate, had conducted half as many tests per 100,000 people as India, and vaccinated 1/10 as many people per 100,000 population as India has. Credibility is a difficult thing to gain, and an easy thing to lose, and the government has unnecessarily thrown much of its credibility away with its ill-conceived policy. It will take a great deal of honest effort to recover it. And that's the editorial for Saturday, May 1, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.